In the previous session, we have discussed about the introduction of graphs. In the previous session, we have discussed about introduction of graphs. Now, in the graphs, there are two types: undirected graph, and another type we have as directed graph. In the undirected graph, this undirected graph is also known as bidirectional. Hence, here the two types of arrows are used because the arrow type is bidirectional here. The type of the arrow is bidirectional here. It means one can travel here, the one can travel to 2, and even 2 also can travel to 1. Now the distance between, the edge between the two vertices 1 and 2 is 4, and the distance between the node 3 and 2 is 3. So here this 3 is also known as edge. It's also known as length. Now here the distance between 2 and 6. It means 2 can travel from, anyone can travel from 2 to 6 and from 6 to 2. Vice versa. We can travel from 2 to 6 and also we can travel from 6 to 2. And the length for that is 7. Now, which I'm uttering frequently, the term length and edge. The term length and edge is also known as cost. So here length is also known as edge, is also known as cost, is another name for that edge is also known as weight. Yeah. So another name for that is also known as weight. So here basically this 4 is nothing but a weight between 1 and 2. Here the 3 is basically the weight between node 3 and 2. 7 weight between the node 2 and 6. 5 the weight between node 5 and 6. This 5 is the weight between the node 4 and 5. Here this 6 is the weight, that is length, the cost between the node 4 and 3. And here the 3 is the weight, that is the cost between the node 1 and 4. This is about the undirected graph. This undirected graph is also known as bidirectional graph. I repeat, undirected graph is also known as bidirectional graph. That is the reason here the type of the arrow is bidirectional. That is the reason for the type of the arrow. Each arrow in this undirected graph is bidirectional. The type of the arrow is bidirectional. This is about undirected graph, and undirected graph have so many applications in the real-time world, and the same way directed graph also have so many applications in the real-time world. Here in the directed graph, the type of the arrow is unidirectional. We can observe here carefully, the type of the each arrow is unidirectional in the directed graph. In the undirected graph, the type of the arrow is bidirectional. It means we can travel vice versa. Here, that is not the case in directed graph. We can travel only in the unidirectional way. It means someone can travel, a person can travel from 2 to only 4. And the cost for that is 12. Suppose if we consider this 2 as Hyderabad and this 4 as some Kurnool, or else we can consider this 2 as some Washington DC, and we can consider this 4 as some New York. In that particular case, this 12 will be the cost, the charge, the value for that particular travel expense. The same way here we have the cost between the node 1 and 3 as, now come on, you repeat along with me. The cost between 1 and 3 is 5. The cost between 3 and 4 is, very good, the cost between 3 and 4 is 7. And here the cost between 1 and 4, the cost between the nodes 1 and 4 is 6. Now here this video is basically to point few things carefully. That is, in directed graph we have unidirectional arrows, and in undirected graph we have bidirectional arrows. So these are the things which I wanted to point to all of you. So in today's video, we have saw about the types of the graphs. That is, we have undirected graph and we have directed graph. In undirected graph, we have bidirectional arrows. It means it is a bidirectional way. And in directed graph, we have its unidirectional arrows. Hence, we can travel only at the one direction. You cannot travel in the backward direction in the case of directed graph. And another thing, the new terminology which we have got to know in this session is length is also another name for edge is also known as length. Edge is also known as length. Edge is also known as cost. This is the thing to be remembered before the end of this session. And edge is also known as weight. So these are the terminologies used mainly in the computer science courses and even in data structures and even in high level advanced artificial algorithms also. Thank you and have a nice day.